The Film Crickets are intended for mature audiences. Any guests on the Film Crickets do not necessarily share the same opinions as the Film Crickets.
Film Crickets, chirping about movies.
It's time for the Film Crickets with Jay Fortier, Chris Martineau, and Melanie Howerton. On this week's episode, our good friend Ray Auger stops by the show.
Yeah, self-taught, no lessons. Thank you very much, Pop.
And Jay, Chris, Melanie, and Ray review the 1998 American romantic comedy film, The Wedding Singer.
Well, I have a microphone and you don't.
So you will listen to every damn word I have to say!
Does it stand the test of time? Let's find out. Your Film Crickets are on now.
Hey friends, welcome to the Film Crickets. My name is Jay Fortier. I'm along with my good friend Melanie Howerton. How you doing, Melanie?
Good. How you guys doing?
All right. Chris is off today, but we are joined once again. We haven't seen him since Urban Cowboy. Could be a horror movie. It's Ray Auger.
Hey guys. I don't think I've recovered from that one. That's why I've avoided you guys for a while.
Yeah.
I think it's a brush off Urban Cowboy, and this is a good one though.
Yeah.
Happy to come back for this one.
Yeah.
Nice. I know.
Always happy to be here though.
Thank you.
Good.
We're happy to have you. The thing was, we had arranged this with you a while ago, and then things were just not working out, like timing, and you'd have a gig or whatever, and it was but we've already kind of talked about this movie with you, saying I don't want to just do it with anybody else. Chris couldn't make it today. He's at a hockey game. Lousy best. No, I'm just kidding.
Better than being at the Patriots game today.
Yeah, that'd be worse. But yeah, so it's one of those. It's I try to once we try to do a show with somebody about a specific movie, I want to at least try to make that the movie that they do with us next. If that's what they want to do. Which this one's we're going to be doing The Wedding Singer, and I don't know if you remember. Do you remember the artwork I made for the thumbnail?
Vaguely.
Okay.
This?
Yeah, so I took a picture of Ray in his 80s outfit, because he's been in 80s bands, 80s cover bands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I put him in that, and I said, with the OG Wedding Singer.
That's right. Yeah, that was good.
But listen, so this movie came out, what year? 97? I don't even have
I didn't write a thing down, so
You know what?
I'm relying on you guys.
Well, you're going to
I'll look
laugh
it
at
up,
this.
though. I'll go on the IMDb while we're
That's all right.
talking.
Whatever.
I made some notes and I did a little bit of trivia, but I didn't write.
Hey, yeah, you know what, Ray? You can be Chris today. You can do the IMDb one sentence breakdown.
Oh, there you go. All right.
So while we're pulling that up, though, this is the time where Chris usually goes, what does this movie mean to you? I would say that this was one of the first 80s throwbacks, of the 90s.
Or of its kind, really.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Like when we see an 80s movie now, they're a little more common, but in the middle of the 90s, it wasn't that common because we just left the 80s not that long ago.
Yeah.
Right.
So there weren't many throwbacks yet, and then this finally came out. Not only when did you see it and all that stuff, but what did it mean to you when you saw it? Why is it good? If you think it's good. I mean, I think it's good, but I'll tell you why later. But
Okay.
what makes you, Melanie? What do you think? One, when did you see it, or if you remember it all, or do you own it? The whole 9 yards.
Okay, so I own it, and I bought it for my daughter, my youngest daughter, and I don't remember. I probably saw it when it first came out. I just don't remember, but I'll just tip my hat. I freaking love this movie. I love. There's just nothing that I don't love about this movie. I'm in love with this movie. It just brought back so many things, which was so funny. I mean, just the way that everybody's dressed, and just I can't even tell you. Just every little thing in this movie just reminds me of just I was there, kind of a thing. And it's just so funny. Just the way Adam Sandler is in this, and just I don't want to go too far into it, but I don't know. I just absolutely love it. It kind of it's a homey type of movie because it just makes you you were there. You were brought up with all of this music, which is a great soundtrack, and brought up with the hairdos and the clothes and everything. So it's a fun movie.
It's awesome. Ray?
Well, first of all, this came out in 1998. So
Okay.
there's
Oh,
that.
yeah.
It wasn't so far, like you said, Jay, from the 80s themselves. So we weren't too far behind. We remembered all that stuff. Now, I'm putting this movie, and I'm sure there is a date, and I don't know what it is, but I'm putting it at like 1983, what it's set in.
I think it said 85 at the beginning.
Really?
No, I'm talking about what they said.
No, I know.
claimed
But I'm
it.
thinking of
Yeah.
the Van Halen, like take the Van Halen shirt off before the band breaks
yeah,
up.
there's so much.
1980. I'm trying to think of when the new Sammy song album
It
came
does
out.
say 85.
85. It may have come out at 85, right? But the band broke
Yeah.
up in 1984.
Oh,
You talking about Van
absolutely.
Halen?
I'm
Yeah,
a
no.
stickler with I'll watch
Yeah.
the Goldbergs, and it drives me
Yeah.
nuts when something happens later or earlier,
Yeah.
where I'm trying to place the timeline, and it just doesn't make sense. Anyway, I got to get away from that. I love this movie because I grew up with Adam Sandler movies, but they were always so goofy, and even this one is goofy. It's not as childish and goofy as his other ones. So this was the first time that Adam Sandler really showed his acting chops and his romantic lead man chops. The first time that he did something with Drew Barrymore, which he would do, I think, 2 more times after that. He really grew as an actor, and you could see, wow, if this is the direction he's going, he's going to have a pretty good career, and he did. So I just remember that being exciting about this movie, other than the music and the styles. I mean, in 84, 85, I was 13 years old. So I guess I was kind of in the thick of it, junior high, dressing the part and Duran Duran all over my walls. And so I could relate like anybody else. I don't know we could talk about whether it holds up later, but that's what it means to me.
I did not see it in the theater. I'd seen the trailer, but for some reason didn't run to the theater to see it. And I saw it on video. Instant love. My wife and I, or it was my girlfriend at the time, but we fell in love with this movie. We watched it incessantly. It was just it was so all the time. So we bought it, and just I ended up having to rebuy it. I don't know if it skipped or something. So had to buy it twice. Now my son likes to play with my DVDs, stack them and stuff, and then next thing you know, they're missing. So I couldn't find my copy. I couldn't even watch this, and I wasn't going to rent it because I know I own it.
Same here.
Yeah.
It's one of those things I was like, yes, but this is branded into my brain.
Yes.
Yeah.
So much that it's I don't need to. I just want to, and I can't.
Yeah.
Because it's not free
Yeah.
anywhere. I was kind of pissed about that, but
Even
it was
$4 seemed like a lot. Because even $4 seemed like a lot. I almost rented it in the middle of the Pats game when I was done with that. But $4, I'm like, I've seen it. I mean, I've probably seen it 25, 26, 27 times.
Absolutely.
Easily.
Yeah. And my wife and I used the final song that he sings as our wedding, our cake cutting song. Yeah.
Oh, that's
we
cute.
cut our cake to it. Yeah.
Grow old with
I
you.
wish it was our original idea, but somebody else did it, and we were like, we love that. So we did that too. Yeah, it was so good. Yeah, I want to grow old with you. So we did that. And now I was asking why is this so good? And I think the reason I'm thinking that this movie is so good, and we'll get to it all, but I think it's so good because yes, they use a ton of 80s references, but they're not the joke. We laugh about it, but the story is so good that we're not upset that did anybody see that 80s show?
Yes.
It came out a minute after that 70s show because that 70s show was doing so well.
Right.
Well, that 80s show was trying to use 80s pop culture as the punchline.
Right.
And it wasn't funny.
Right. And then I think, speaking of the Goldbergs again, they got it right with the 80s. The 80s weren't the joke. It was just the timeline that they were in.
Yeah.
And
the writing needs to be good.
Yes, exactly. Do you remember the episode where they were on the plane that Adam Sandler and Drew Carey were on? They did a whole plane episode, and they kept talking about how there was a couple, this guy singing to his girlfriend in the back. What's his name? Billy Idol shows up, because he was in Wedding Singer, but he comes over to the Goldberg side. That was kind of a cool crossover that didn't
can't remember.
involve. Yeah, that was really
Yeah.
good.
I loved that show. I watched like so many years of it, like at least 4 or 5, whatever.
Yeah.
And then when stuff like my wife and I have different schedules. We have different schedules, so like it's sometimes like you rely on the DVR, and then you're like, okay, I'm saving this for when we get the chance. Next thing you know, there's like 30 episodes of the.
And then what's
Goldbergs.
the point at that point?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait till it's over, and I'll watch it on Hulu or something. Like, I'll just we'll pick it up later. So we couldn't complete like it's just, and then you're out of it now.
Yeah.
So, but I did love it. It was a really
Same
good
thing
show.
happened to us. Because I was watching them all the time, recording them, and my husband just stopped watching it. And then, then I was like, okay, well, now I got to watch these on my own because he doesn't want to watch it anymore. When am I going to sit there and watch it on my own? So same thing. They just kept piling up. And every once in a while I would go and watch like a couple. And then I was like, okay, whatever. I think we might have changed cable services too. And we lost all of them. I'm like, okay, whatever.
It lost its luster, it did. So you saw the first 5, 6 seasons. Those were the best. And then it kind of went a little downhill from there.
Because I got to where the daughter was in college and then some past that. But
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think it was right around the National Lampoon's Vacation episode.
They
did. And that's about when I didn't get to continue. But but like this, and I agree, Ray. I think his acting was like the first time he wasn't going, like doing all this like weird, goofy stuff. He was always like, I mean, Happy Gilmore was a step in that direction, and then he upped it for this. I think he was a lot more sensitive. And
well, he was growing into his fan base. We were all getting older, as he was too. So when we got to a certain age, that's when he decided to be a little bit more mature. Not 100%, which thankfully he didn't, because he's still goofy. But I think he was growing into his, like, the next thing I got to do for my fan base is something a little bit more adult oriented.
So good.
It cracks me up, though, the way he does his voice for everything, like just the way he like talks like through every movie, especially this one. He's so funny.
He's got that soft voice, and then he says he goes on like this and starts yelling.
Yeah, like
that was horrible.
Again, would have been nice to know yesterday or whatever.
Or whoopity doo.
Yeah, I wrote that down. I wrote that down in my notes.
Cindy and Scott are newlyweds.
Yeah, what was it? He goes, Cindy and Scott are newlyweds. Whoopity-doo.
I haven't seen the movie in like 3 years. It's still branded into my brain.
I like when he's like, everybody spread the word. I live in my sister's basement.
Oh, yeah. And then George is in the background. Oh, yeah.
I don't know why he would come into work. He just got his heart broken, and the guy that made him come in goes, I don't know.
Yeah. Alan Covert. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's so funny, yeah.
Yeah, right. You want to do the IMDb one-sentence review?
Yeah, I think it's just the first thing that pops up, right? So it's Robbie, a singer, and Julia, a waitress, are both engaged, but to the wrong people. Fortune intervenes to help them discover each other.
All right. Nice.
And hilarity ensues.
And
it's funny they don't even mention like set in the 80s or anything, though.
Oh, you know what? I do want to mention one thing. We did the movie It's a Wonderful Life a couple of weeks ago, and I knew this bit of information, and I kept like meaning to say it, and I never did. The guy who played Mr. Parler is Lionel Barrymore, which is Drew Barrymore's great-grandfather.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I just thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is.
But yeah, Drew Barrymore in this, she's great.
Yeah.
Like,
this could be Drew at her best. I think. And it was just really the point of her career. I don't think it was her acting at the time. She's wonderful in it. But I think we really needed an innocent Drew Barrymore at that moment. And then I think that really helped her career doing this movie.
Right. I think Scream got her back on the map. And then this really took her to the next level again.
Yeah.
I think they were both perfect in it. I think everybody that was in this movie is perfect. And you guys know I'm horrible with names. You might have just mentioned him. What is that? The funny drunk guy at the wedding that I loved so much that he's been in 1,000
Steve
things.
Buscemi?
Oh, Steve Buscemi, yeah.
Okay, he's so funny. He cracked me up too.
What I love about Adam Sandler's movies is he puts his friends in his movies. And more so now, you see the same people in it all the time. So it becomes like summer camp when he decides to do a movie. And I love that about him. Even if he's not in it, his production company is making movies for David Spade or Rob Schneider. And all of his friends he grew up with, like Alan, had a major part in the movie. The guy that always has the goofy eye, that was one of his college friends. And then,
really?
Yeah, and then the stoner guy from Grandma's house, he's in a lot of his movies as well. He was one of the wedding guests. He's like a real tan-looking guy.
Right.
He puts his entourage in his movies, and then he puts all of his famous friends in there.
Is that the quarterback from Waterboy?
Yes. Yeah.
And
that's what I love about him. And Steve Buscemi, he's been really close with him for a long time, so he shows up in all of his movies.
I have a little piece about Chris Farley because he wanted to put him in that movie. That was one of the trivia things.
Oh, yeah? What was he going to do?
To get him in the movie. It just says that he originally asked his good friend Chris Farley to a cameo near the end of the film as a ticket agent in the airport who booked Robbie Hart and his flight to Vegas. And then it said Farley wanted to participate so much, but New Line refused to cast him because he was considered a liability because he had been in rehab so many times. And it said Sandler tried to appeal the idea to New Line, assuring them that Farley would be overcoming his drug problem, but they refused. And then sadly, he passed away from drug overdose a month and a half before the premiere of the film, which was December 18th, 1997.
And from what I know, I think the Kevin James character was supposed to be Chris Farley in Grown Ups because he had written it a while back.
That makes sense.
And then he joined the group, so now he's in every Sandler movie.
Right.
So that was going to be the role of the ticket agent, the guy that had the flock of seagulls hair. I bet you like flock of seagulls.
That is a great moment.
Yeah.
That would have been an awesome Chris Farley cameo.
Yeah, especially if he made him have the hair.
Yes.
Like how great would that have been? But like, how great is the toast from Steve Buscemi? Like, when he's like, and my brother Harold asked for me to be the best man at his wedding. I said, of course, man.
I'm the greatest guitar player ever.
Yeah.
Never took a lesson.
Yeah, it's just like, but like you could see on the wedding guest's face. When, I'm sorry, the bride and groom.
Oh yeah.
Like when he goes, remember that time in Puerto Rico when we picked up those two? I guess they were prostitutes, but I don't remember paying.
Adam Sandler saved that. Yeah.
And he's just like, you got music that you enjoy throughout this movie, like not just what he's playing, but then you got the little stuff on the side, like that sick, twisted chef guy that, like, don't turn around. He's like, yes!
Yeah.
And he's got the Frankie Says Relax shirt.
Yeah.
Alexis Arquette. He was fantastic. Alexis Arquette.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is,
okay. Is he the guy? Who's the guy that
Boy
was going to
George.
be taking? No, him. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, he was amazing. What about the guy that was taking over? He was like, oh, I'm so glad you had your nervous breakdown because now I'm getting all the money.
John
Lovitz.
He was hilarious when he was on.
He showed up on Goldberg's too at one point. They were looking for a wedding DJ, and he showed up, or a singer. He's fantastic.
And even little tiny things that are funny in this, like when he does his, he's doing this ladies' night song.
Yes.
And then when he's done, like, I think it was like, his name was like Jimmy Morse or something like that. He goes, hey, I'm Jimmy Morse, and then ain't no sock in my crotch.
Oh my God.
As, you know what I mean? Like, you're trying out to be somebody's wedding singer.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing you say as the song's over.
How about that sweet little old lady that was in Studio 54?
With the meatballs.
The meatballs. That was my favorite part. She's like, put out your hand.
I know.
She squeezes it after.
You just see him dripping.
Right now. That's my favorite part.
She became was before the rapping granny, right?
Yes.
Yeah. She's so cute.
Where did that come from? Where was rapping granny? That wasn't from Wedding Singer.
No.
Where did she originally do that?
Wait, no. She did
she
do
continue?
a rap in that. She did, didn't she?
Yeah, she did at the end. She did the Rapper's Delight.
At the end.
Okay, well, was she already famous for that? Because I just remembered the rapping granny, and I don't know if it was a commercial, maybe. I don't. Well,
I'm not sure if it was
I know
her.
she was
I got
in
one of
Studio
these.
54. Do you remember Studio 54? She was in that.
Oh yeah, that was a good movie.
But she did rap at the end of. She did rap at the end of this.
Yeah, Rapper's Delight.
Yeah.
It was after she sang her song to her husband. Like they even introduced the Boy George character to sing "Do You Really Want to Hurt Me?" and then they only know one song with him.
Yeah.
So
But
then,
he was amazing. Just the look on his face, and he was super good. Anyway, I wouldn't have gotten sick of listening to that song over and over. I don't know what they were complaining about.
So the rapping granny, I'm sorry, just to digress here, was an actual rap star. I guess
really?
she was known to be a rap star, and I think that's what led her to a cameo on that film.
Is that the same person?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, there you go. Now we know.
all right.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah.
You know what I did hate, like towards the end though, when he's like, well, there's so many other funny parts. Like I literally love it when they're all in the club and they're all singing "Little China Girl," and the jerk is like, "Yeah, we all know the words." Like, shut up.
Yeah.
Like, he's such a jerk.
It's such a great line, though, from somebody like him. Like, that is what some jerk would say to his girlfriend if she was singing and annoying him at the same time. We all know the words. Thanks. That cringe.
And then, like, how sleazy he was. Like, when Adam Sandler was trying to get him, like, he's like, "Oh, yeah, but all the fun, all the party stops when you get married, right?" He goes, "Why?" He's like, talking about how he, works far away and she's not going to know anything. And he, he had somebody hotter than that and younger than that, like, last week. Like, he's such a jerk. You couldn't wait for him to just get out of the picture.
Well,
but he was awesome. He was like the guy that you want to love to hate, just like the guy from Happy Gilmore. You couldn't have any more perfect of a person.
Well, if you think about it, if you watch enough 80s movies, he is the ultimate 80s bad guy. Mm-hmm. He's the bad boyfriend that the other guy's trying to get out of the picture. He shows up in a DeLorean. I love that. He's in a DeLorean to the Miami Vice theme song.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any douchier than that. Yeah.
Wearing the white jacket.
Aren't you going to miss like Miami Vice? And he's like, "No, I got to record it." Or something like that.
Summer reruns.
Yeah. That's what he says. Yeah.
I got it covered.
Yeah. But she was like making fun of him, but he was serious.
Now, anybody else think this when you see the guy who's the brother-in-law? When like he's got the
his hair,
the Italian guy.
Yeah. He's got the giant eyebrows and he's got like kind of like a little afro going, but like he's also like ultra tan. Every time I saw him, I go, I can smell the cologne.
Absolutely.
Like
Polo.
when I just see it, huh? Polo, yeah. There you go. I just it's just that type. Like he's just like, hey,
like Fonzie or something. Yeah.
What'd you have in your drawer, Jay, growing up? What'd you have? I had Polo. I had
I did.
That was my favorite to smell.
What about Dracar? Dracar was very big.
I still like the smell of Dracar. Like even though I know it's overdone, like it's kind of like cliche, but like I still like they even make a Yankee Candle called like Midnight or something like that, and it smells just like it.
Yeah.
Two others that I had was Eternity and Obsession.
Obsession, yeah. Oh yeah, I had a big bottle of Obsession.
Yeah.
Lagerfeld was another one that I had.
Obsession.
Melanie, were you Liz Claiborne? My girlfriend always had.
I remember the musk. Remember that musk that girls wore all the time? I don't remember the
White
name,
Diamonds.
No, it was like it said musk on it.
Oh, it was the name.
And I remember that was kind of a big thing. I can't remember.
Funny?
I had like tons of stuff like that.
I work at a convenience store still, like on the weekends. And I, to this day, any guy that comes in with a musky cologne, it for some reason chokes me. Like, so I'm like, thank you, have a good day. Like I just it like I don't know, like shuts my air pipe down. Like thank you very much.
Now, are these guys of a certain age, or are kids still wearing cologne? I haven't put on cologne in since probably college.
I don't know. I absolutely love cologne, and I'll get it from my husband. He never wears it.
Yeah.
In fact, I swear to you, I have a Polo. Because I got him Polo when we started dating, and I have the bottle of it, I think, in the kitchen, because whenever if there's like a bad smell in the kitchen or somewhere, I'm spraying the Polo because it's like this much left in it, and it's like old as the hills, and I'm like, I'm not going to put it on a body, but I'll spray it in the house.
Now I want cologne.
I use it's funny. I walked by. It was at like I think before Filene's closed, or
that's where you would get your cologne,
right?
Wild Musk. That's what was the name of it.
Wild
I'm sorry.
Musk. Okay.
Wild Musk.
That's right. No, it's a really nice. I only like it if it's nice. Like if I like the smell, it doesn't matter what it is. And I happen to think this smelled nice. I wear a cologne with the. Whoop, Look at that! Wow. Mine is a Boston Red Sox cologne.
What?
Yeah.
It smells like third base.
Yeah. No, but like, listen, I wouldn't have bought it. I'm not the type to buy something just because of its name. I gotta like it.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I smell it, I was like, wow, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
And
this
for me, like now, like it's not about brand name for me. Like if it smells good, I like it.
That's it. Like
you know.
Just the visual
That's
takes me back to
yeah.
1989.
Obsession, see?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
This has been brought to you by Calvin Klein, everybody. It's our new
and
official
then they
sponsor.
had the obsession for women too, because me and my friend had that too.
Nice.
Yeah.
So this cologne sidetrack was a lot of fun. No, but it's great. I love this stuff.
But you know what? One thing I didn't like in the movie, and they had to have it, but I just thought it was sad, was like when she was sitting in the, in the dressing in her room, and she was trying on the dress, and she was crying, and she was super upset. But then, of course, when she starts dreaming about marrying him, she looks like she's super happy, and he just has to get there at that one point.
Yeah.
And he doesn't stay long enough for anything. If he just got there a minute before or whatever, but of course he thinks she's super happy, and then he just walks away.
Well, because she was fantasizing about him, yeah.
Such a trope.
Yeah.
Right, but like, they always have to. Every movie has to have that controversy.
Yeah.
In the middle to make it go like, oh no, it's over.
It's the conflict. You need the conflict.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought it was funny when the girlfriend comes back in, the whatchamacallit, the ex-fiance comes back in.
Linda.
And she's like, I decided that, I'll basically saying, I'll settle for you in a way, and he's like, what are you doing in my Van Halen t-shirt? Like,
You're going to jinx the band, it's going to break up. Yeah.
Yeah, he goes, get out of my Van Halen t-shirt before you jinx the band, they're going to break up. And then in the trivia, it says that David Lee Roth left Van Halen in 1985, and that was the year in which this movie is set.
Okay, so maybe. Okay,
yeah,
I guess summer, right? We already know it was summer, so maybe Dave left in the fall. It works. It tracks.
Yeah.
If you look at the credits, there's obviously a lot of songs that were not on the actual soundtrack. Like I had the soundtrack. There was some songs that weren't there. And it's funny, Madonna got credit just because he mentioned it.
Really?
Yeah, when he goes, we're living in a material world, and I am a material girl or boy.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, just because, he quoted the lyrics and talked about the song, Madonna. That's right
Well,
in the credits.
and then also like the holiday song is kind of what he was singing when he was like, I live in my sister's basement.
Right. But I love George in the background because he's like, I live in my sister's basement. And he's like,
crying.
oh, yeah. Come on. Still oblivious to the way.
That was one of my favorite characters, honestly. I literally love George. He was awesome. I would have loved him.
I got to tell you, my wife, Wendy, laughed so much the first time we watched this at a specific part that we had to pause it and then rewind it and watch her like enjoy it again for another couple of times. And that was when he says, me, sideburns lady, and the mutants over at table 9.
Yes. Yeah. And he was like, we got to do something before this fat guy over here. He says something like, is not going to get more food. We're going to cut the cake or something. What does he say? Jay, you know the word.
He was like, let's cut the cake before the fat guy gets it's going to get upset because we haven't eaten recently.
And he was like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know, that line escapes me, but she lost her mind when that happened. Yeah, it's just there's a lot to enjoy about this. Just the interaction, the way he interacts with Drew,
as friends.
Yeah, just while he's talking to her, he's like, the kid vomits, and he's like, I don't know, I don't think anybody can throw up more than that kid. I think I saw a boot come out of him.
Yeah, he handles her very well. She was really sad and down and taking care of the kid, and he came out and made everything good. And you could already tell they had chemistry at that moment. They didn't have to be like, oh, well, nice to meet you, see you later. They instantly had that chemistry that led to more and more chemistry as the movie went on.
Well, I loved his friend with the Michael Jackson glove and jacket.
Yeah.
And he was like, first time he met you, he said he was going to give it to you or something like that. He was like, shut up. He walks away.
Yeah. And he's like, he's teasing. I would never say that. No, you told me you were going to give it to her. He just makes it worse.
Yeah.
And he's like, say hello to your brother Tito.
Yeah.
Chucks him the bird.
Yeah.
How about the part where he's trying to get a job and he's like, look, can you just give me some business cards with my name on it? I'm just trying to impress somebody.
Yeah, Kevin Nealon, I think, was the bank guy.
It's funny. He's like,
Like,
just give me the job.
Get out. Right.
Yeah.
Another fun cameo.
Yeah.
By the way,
And,
speaking of cameos, going back to the chef, the weird chef guy, that's Robert Smigel, legendary SNL writer.
Oh,
really?
He's the guy who does the Triumph, right?
Funhouse. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He does Triumph. Yeah.
Triumph, the insult comic dog.
Yep. That's him.
You know who Triumph, the insult comic dog?
Yeah.
He was from. He was like a puppet.
He was on Conan a lot.
Conan
I think that's where
O'Brien.
it started. It was a little sock puppet dog.
Oh,
With a
okay.
Very
cigar.
rubberized. He always had a
insult.
Yeah,
cigar
that
in his
sounds
mouth.
familiar.
Yeah, that was
Uh-huh.
him.
Yeah.
And then he spent a
I
lot of
didn't
time
know
on
that.
SNL.
But now that you
Yeah,
say that,
I
I
knew
can
that.
Um,
see him.
He was funny. He reminds me of the guy from. Do you guys ever see the sitcom with the two girls in it? Two Broke Girls.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was.
He reminds me of that.
Had you not come up with anything, we were like, yeah, we've seen it.
He just reminds me of
Every
that. The neck
sitcom.
starting and like the hair sticking out, and he's always hitting on the girl.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that, but like I've seen like clips.
It was funny. Like
Yeah,
that
I'm
guy
sure.
was funny.
Yeah, in the bar when after he's finding out that when he says I'm not happy,
Yeah.
like I grew up idolizing guys named like Fonzie and Vinnie Barbarino. You know what happened to them? And that's what we played earlier for the he goes the bull riding movie and Fonzie's the director. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I love a minute later they go in and he's teaching them how to moonwalk to Jam On It by
Oh, yeah.
Nucleus, which I love that
Yeah.
song. I know it's a silly song, but it's just like
I
a
like
part
it
of my
too.
youth.
Yeah.
Like I used to break dance when I was a kid, like 6th grade, 7th
Yeah.
grade, all that. Love
Remember the
it.
movie Break-In? I went to the movies to see that.
Me too.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, Breaking 2 is, I'm more partial to Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Ah.
Yeah.
I don't know which one I went to the movie.
yeah,
I don't know which one
I saw
went to
one
the
at the
movies to see.
theater.
One of them.
Um,
Yeah, one of them I saw.
Did we, Jay, you said you didn't see this at the theater. Melanie,
No.
did you see it at the movie theater?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't either. And I'm sure I did because I was of age, obviously. Well, I was, I was old enough to go on my, I was 27. Of course, I was old enough to go on my
Yeah.
own.
What time? When did it come out? 97? Yeah, 97.
90, oh, it was 97? Okay. I was 25
Okay.
then. I was much too young to go on my own. So I probably didn't. No, but I'm sure I rushed out and got the DVD. And like you said, Jay, I had multiple copies. And then whenever it's free on one of the streaming services, I would watch it. And it's also the kind of movie that once you've watched it 15 times, you can jump in and out at any time. It could just be on TV. And that's another thing. If it was on network TV, they didn't really cut anything out. So it was still enjoyable on network TV. I don't remember a lot of swearing in it. I'm sure there was
just the
obviously a little
song.
bit.
the song that he sings when he's all mad.
Yeah. But that was an
Or when
easy
the little
edit.
boy said to the fiance that you're a bitch.
Oh.
And he
That still
said,
might
"Who
that
was
still
kid?"
might even stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today it
Who
would.
was
Yeah.
that kid again, though? Who was that kid again, Jay?
The kid that played he was the little boy in Stir of Echoes.
That's right. That's right.
But so what was it? Oh, I have a side story. It's adorable. I went to like Providence Bruins a couple years ago, maybe probably like 5+ years ago. Anyways, and it's like intermission, and I go, "Hey Elaine," my daughter Elaine. I go, "Hey Elaine, check it out. It's the Zamboni," and she goes, "Yeah, we know." And she goes, wiki. And she goes, because it's Zamboni. And I was like, no, that's Jam On It. I was like, I love it, though. I said, I love that you're thinking this way. No, I was like, that's a song called Jam On It, not Zamboni.
That sounds like a Weird Al song. You should write that.
Right? You're like,
Zamboni
he wouldn't accept
instead of
it.
Jamoni.
Me and my cousin Rhonda used to do that. We literally used to take songs constantly and tear them apart and do what Weird Al did all
Yeah,
the time.
I've done that. Which makes you wonder, how difficult could it be?
Yeah.
Why is the guy such a star? And there's no other Weird Al, really. He is the only Weird Al. I think everyone just respected him so much, we decided we're not going to try. We're not going to go for it.
Yeah.
One
of my funniest ones from him was the one that was instead of Gangster's Paradise.
Amish.
White
Amish.
yeah, and then there was a white and nerdy one was so
White
funny.
and nerdy.
Those are my favorite videos.
It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is it's done so well, and it became so popular that people, once they heard the other song, like I remember them, like the original artist saying, people would come up to me and go, "Hey man, you did a version of Weird Al's tune?"
Oh, that just came up on something. Oh, I was watching Tacoma FD with the guys from Broken Lizard. It's on True TV. It's a funny show. 4 seasons. Anyway, they were talking about Weird Al. One of the guys was writing his own songs, and one of the dumber firefighters thought that artists were covering Weird Al.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
so
same
funny.
thing. That was. I just saw that the other day.
I love in the White and Nerdy how the guy is like dancing, and the other guy is kind of dancing like this in the background.
Right, you got Key and Peele are in it.
Yeah, but every time, because I love Gangster's Paradise, so every time I'm listening to that song with my kids, you cannot help singing the Amish Paradise song. Like, I churn butter once or twice, we sell quilts at discount price. Like, no matter, I'll be singing Gangster's Paradise, and I'll start putting those words in.
I like hearing the stories that are that he would tell about people, for instance, when he always asked permission if he could do it. And I remember the story of him asking Kurt Cobain if he could do, a joke on his song, Smells Like Teen Spirit. And Kurt Cobain goes, "It's not about food, is it?" And he's like, which is a great question because, there was Fat, Eat It, I Love Rocky Road, My Bologna. Right. No, but I'm saying, at this point, it's like, okay, you don't have to keep doing this, right? And he was like, no, it's about how people can't understand your lyrics. Which is a great.
It was so funny. That was so funny.
Sure
I love
was.
all of his videos. They crack me up. They're just a huge thing of the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. So, there's so much in this movie that, like I said, the jokes are there. The pop culture is there, but it's not telling the story. We're enjoying those things, but we're really also like the writing is done so well that I think we're enjoying a lot more. Like, for instance, he pulls up to pass the duchy, to go visit when Robbie loses the girl and loses his fiance, and he's depressed all in the basement, and his friend shows up to pass the duchy, and he's like talking to the brother-in-law for a second. He's like, "I don't want to be known as the guy with the brother-in-law of the town nut job." And he's like, I know. And he's walking into the house. He's like, "Pass the duchy on the left." He starts singing it to himself. Yeah. And then he's downstairs. With the when he starts asking him, I was like, "Hey, do you use Downy?" "No."
I was just going to say that I love when they start talking about the laundry detergent. And he was like, "No, it's like color safe, whatever. Okay, can you leave now or whatever?"
All temperature.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. So
very subtle jokes. Those are very subtle.
Yeah. And he's like, "You can run wash your clothes in any color, and the colors don't run together. Any temperature, and the colors don't run together." And he goes, "Really?" Yeah. Now leave me alone.
Yeah. And he's like laying on the side of the bed next to him.
Right.
I haven't done anything since high school.
Oh, so good. Yeah, and then obviously it's a superficial character, Glenn. The guy who's superficial, he's full of just everything's about money, but it also shows how the 80s were all loaded. Everything was like a money hungry time.
Wall Street. Yeah.
Right. Well, and what's Mom saying about Glenn? Glenn is a keeper. Yeah. You're thinking about leaving him for the wedding singer. It's like, we need you to have a future. Yeah. Because this guy is rich. So that somehow makes him a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah. He never would have treated her good. She would have been alone all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And he would have been cheating on her the entire time. So she would have been miserable.
It was a different time though, so they really did, and it wasn't so far off from the 80s. So they remember it was, you might marry somebody successful, you raise the kids, you got 3 or 4 kids, the husband stays at work and golfs on the weekends and cheats on her, and that was a mindset. I would say early to mid 80s, and then things changed for the better. But I think it really did define the superficial relationship of the time. And then the Robbie and what was her name?
Julia.
Julia. Yeah, Robbie and Julia's story was a little bit more progressive, I think.
I also loved her friend that was always wearing Marsha Brady. I'm always going to think of her like that.
Oh yeah.
That's basically married to Ben Stiller, but she's always dressed like Madonna.
Yeah.
The whole.
She was funny. She was great.
Yeah, she was awesome. She was so good.
And she's not she's kind of a bitch, but she's not.
No, she's a good person.
No,
another
I'm saying,
stereotypical woman of the time, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
When I say kind of a bitch, she's kind of a jerk, to him when she's like, it's important to everybody. When she treats him badly, by the fact that you like her, don't you?
Yeah.
But then she turns around and runs to get him and says she was going to see him, to say that she was falling for you. So if she was a total bitch, she wouldn't have done that.
Right.
Yeah. I think as soon as she realized that Julia liked him, then she wanted them to kind of be together. She didn't realize that at first, I think.
There's just, how about even stuff when he kisses her, because it's they're like, well, we got to see how it is. That part where now,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't be using tongue. No, not tongue, church tongue. What's
Yeah.
church tongue?
Exactly.
And then they kiss and go ahead.
Yeah, that was a pivotal scene as well, and I mean that really showed their acting chops, both of them. And when Glenn walks in and they're just speechless, and those are things I remember too, because he wasn't really known for his acting, and she was a great kid actress, but she still had a lot to prove as an adult, and that moment was really pivotal for both of them, I think.
Do you remember
Characters
what he
and
said?
actors.
Do you remember what he said at the
Go ahead. I'll screw up all the quotes.
No, it's
Jay,
fine.
you've got the quotes.
I know.
No, it's
I'll
fine.
never say that
He goes,
exactly.
Hey, I kissed her, but it didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Kissed who? Oh, me. The friend goes, oh, me. Yeah, who hasn't?
Yeah.
It was so quick too. It was so quick.
Yeah.
That was great.
Or
And
when
then
they were-
as far as Marsha Brady goes, that hurt her feelings, didn't it? That was a moment too. You're like, this girl isn't so superficial. She's got feelings. Because she was turned. She didn't like when he said that, and you
But
felt bad.
also,
You
too,
felt bad for her.
Well, remember when they were in the club, he said something like, I think it was when they were in the club, that guy said something like that about giving it to Robbie or something, and or something, and she said something like, just because I'm going home, I don't know what she said, you don't remember, because I'm going home doesn't mean he's going to, and she's like, okay, you're right, or whatever.
Yeah.
What was that? You probably remember the words.
Yeah, it was something doesn't just because I'm going I'm going on a date with him doesn't mean he's going to get lucky.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, that does.
Yeah.
It kind of does. Yeah, that was great. You get but you can also there's subtle things, not just how he treats her. When with the with Robbie saying, when he's saying to Robbie, I work long hours. She's never going to know. I cheat on her on the weekends, type of things. There's other subtle things that he does that's not it makes you go, oh, hurry up and get rid of them. Like when he was I got a DVD, I got a CD player. And she's like, you want to play a record? No, Jules, it's a CD player. And he kind of treats her like shit. He goes what are you, stupid?
Yeah.
But I do like
Or when
that
he doesn't
she's
give her the window seat.
right.
Yeah.
Just little subtle things like that.
Or doesn't want to get married, or whatever she wanted to do. It's it's your wedding. You can do whatever you want. Whatever makes you happy.
Right.
He doesn't even want to help pick out anything. She has to go somewhere. She has to go to Robbie, a friend, to you should be marrying your friend. You shouldn't have to go to someone else all the time if you want to talk about something or help pick stuff out for your wedding. He was like, oh, that's kind of your thing. He's such an asshole. He doesn't want any part of any of it. You know what I mean? Like
The scene where they're, I forget, maybe the florist or something, and they were pretending to be brother and sister, and then she bites him. I don't know if that was improv or what, but that was so random.
And I love the way the lady's face.
yeah.
You know, like when it's but like she lists all the people who aren't together anymore. Woody and Mia, Donald and Ivana.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
Bert and Lonnie.
Yes.
Bert and
That was a messy divorce.
Like everybody's all like apart now. Like I just know you're gonna be together, just like all those people.
Yeah.
Like I said, everything there's so many good moments, so many one-liners. Like how about
or the old lady when she was like, how many times? I think she said she slept with 8 men. Because that was a lot back then. That was like, what'd she say? That's like 100 now or something. What did she say?
Right. Yeah. It was like there'd be like 300 or something. Like I forget that part, but
yeah. I loved everything with that lady in it. Every single part that she was in and everything that came out of her mouth. She was just adorable. I loved her.
Yeah. No, she was great. Yeah. I mean, like the plane. Yeah, I mean, like you got Billy Idol. It's funny.
Yes.
You got modern Billy Idol, who's older, and you can see his, wrinkles and stuff. And then on the magazine, he's all young.
Yeah. He did age very well, though. He aged very.
Oh
very
no,
well.
I'm just talking about like if you just look at the comparison, it's really like a kind of a vast difference. Like he's like a tiny Billy Idol.
That was almost like them saying, "Hey, we get it. The guy's older. Let's make a joke out of it."
Oh sure,
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, and then like you got, he's on the plane, and then he's got like the moment where they realize the lady, the stewardess says, this guy thinks he's Don Johnson. They just asked me to be in the Mile High Club. I mean, everything. It's just it's a great feel good film.
Yeah, and they know right there. Obviously, he knows right there who it is, but. How much of an ass is that? Like, he's literally on the way to go get married right now. His fiance is on the plane right next to him, and he's like, hey, like, to some other waitress. Like, he's going to go have sex on the airplane with some other waitress. Like, you almost just want him to get thrown off the plane.
Well, earlier, when he said, like, I got tickets to Vegas, to say that let's go get married there. And she's like, but Las Vegas? And he goes, Jules, it's the romance capital of the world. Like, he's not even, like, he has no clue whatsoever about, it's funny, like, I one last thing that I love is he's too clueless to understand why it'd be funny that Julia's name is going to be Julia Gulia.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. He
Well,
has
it's
no
like-
clue why that's funny.
Like, he's like, why is that funny? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're so quick to say that too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to argue with him. He wasn't going to explain it to him. Just I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the perfect wording for that.
Right. So yeah, I mean, and then obviously he ends with the song, which is, like I said, I talked about it earlier, the one that he like sings to her in the plane, and then how great is Steve Buscemi at the end singing "True." Like they hire him to be the wedding singer,
Yeah.
like for Robbie and Julia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes, I love that guy so much.
Yeah.
And then what I thought was cute too, though, just offset is in the beginning is when he was getting stood up at the wedding, and George is sitting there crying hysterically. It was so funny.
What's great about that is that he's like turning to the older woman, and he's like the old lady, and he's like, it's good.
And they're both crying.
And then Robbie throws one thing, "Rah!" And then like, oh god, like you just see it's already down his face, already.
Yeah.
The mascara is already down like to the like his mouth.
He was a good actor, really was.
Oh yeah, and also like what I constantly hear when I'm hearing "Don't Stop Believin'," if it's like like I go. Yeah. So it was a bad note. like I always think of that.
Yeah.
Because there was a note.
You sound just like him when you do that.
Well,
I think like I've mentioned it already, but I think one of my favorites. I know I've already mentioned it, but when he was just singing, when he was like at that wedding, when he was all wicked upset, and that guy punches him out and everything. But I mean, just everything that he's saying, the love stinks, and he's like screaming at everybody. And I live in my sister's basement.
Oh.
I know that cracked me up probably more than anything. Was I live in my sister's basement line?
How about
I have a microphone and you don't.
Yeah, I have a
I have
microphone,
a microphone and you don't.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I gotta show you guys something. This one's gonna like I'll put it up like over the actual but I'm gonna show you on here, and this will blow your mind.
You better with this buildup.
This guy here.
Oh yeah.
This guy here is the kid who grabs
Oh no
Julia's
way!
butt.
Yeah, I think I knew that.
Oh my
it
god,
looks
the one
like
that
it.
she dances with?
The big kid.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I think
also
I knew
thought
that.
that was a really nice part.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Yes.
such a good guy. I mean, he literally sees that this, and I would be the same way because I cannot stand it. If I was a teacher, and I mean, some teachers I've seen, like I got picked on when I was little, and the teacher just didn't do anything, not only didn't do anything about it, but she'd go in on it, which I thought was insane. Like I would be the exact opposite. Like if I saw somebody picking and being a bully to other kids, I mean, oh my God. But I thought that was so nice that like he saw that kid was sad. He was alone. The girl, didn't want to dance with him. He didn't really have any friends, all that. And he just, did that for him. I thought that was so nice. And then they were both in on it together. That was just the nicest thing ever. That kid's been in something else. Though.
He was
Wasn't
in
he something else?
Matilda
I've seen him
as
in
the kid that's eating a lot. Like
That's right, the cake, the chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he's a doctor now.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
I love that movie, Matilda. That was so cute.
But what's great about that scene is that also shows how much they have a connection, because he didn't say, "Hey, let's do something nice for this kid."
Yeah.
She saw him talking to him, and he says, "I want you to pick out the coolest, most unlosery guy of the bunch."
Yeah.
And she knew exactly who to grab.
Yeah.
And it was just so good. And by the way,
They made a fantastic team.
I love that song that he was singing. And that's not on the soundtrack.
No.
Oh, which one?
It was something called "That's All." It was like an old song, but I just I
yeah.
loved the way he sang it. I thought he did a really nice job. It would have been like a joy to listen to. It's nowhere. So if you
He's
want to,
he's a great musician.
He is, yeah.
yeah,
I
he's
don't
got a
know
really
if a lot
nice
of people
voice.
realize that. Yeah.
It's just like I would like to hear that, but it's like if you want to hear it, you have to listen to it on YouTube with all the extra like chit chat and sound effects and whatnot. So
I think like they did such a good job, both of them acting, that you almost like hope that they are a couple, because they just seem like, you know what I mean? Like when you watch a movie and people are just like that and you just want them to be together.
They're great friends. I think that's the closest we'll get, but at least we know that because
Yeah.
they've been in 3 movies together.
Yeah. 50 First Dates, this one. What was the other one again? I know
Blended.
it's more popular.
Blended. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Blended.
Yeah.
50 First Dates was amazing too.
that
She was
great.
actually, whatever the two of them are in is
Blended's
amazing.
good. It's just a little
It's
odd.
cute.
Like
Yeah.
at times, like like they get a little silly at times, like
Like the ostrich fight, or the
or
when
Terry
they're riding
Crews'
the ostrich.
character is very odd. Like it's funny, but I'm saying
Yeah.
like it's not like as I would say as strong as
No.
the others. But either way, it's also like quite sad at times when you watch it. You want to watch a movie? Let's watch the movie. You want to do TMI?
It's time for TMI with Melanie.
Listen to this. I am in the bathroom right before the movie starts. And I'm in the stall, and there's no toilet paper.
Mine are at home in a display case above my bed.
TMI, my friends.
It's just
TMI?
Too much information.
Don't go there, but that's lame.
Now, here's Melanie with your timeless movie info.
All right, Melanie,
Okay.
here we go.
So the budget was 18 million and it grossed 123.3 million.
Wow.
Director Frank Karachi, am I saying that right?
I don't know. I'm just going to give you credit.
Okay. He asked Carrie Fisher to actually polish the script. She spent 6 months on it, and when she was asked what her secret was, her secret sauce, they said, what was for the script doctoring, she replied, "Make the women smarter and the love scenes better." So she had a big hand in that.
Nice.
The butterfly jean jacket that Julia wears throughout the entire movie belongs to Drew Barrymore. Director Frank liked her jacket so much that he told her to wear it as part of her costume. The Wedding Singer musical opened at the Al Hirschfield Theater on April 27, 2006, and ran for 285 performances, and it was nominated for the 2006 Tony Awards for Best Musical. Actor Stephen Lynch, book and score. And that's all I have, because I had already said the other things during the thing.
I got one.
Yeah, say so.
There's
okay.
No, there's a character that's referred to as Eric Lamonsoff in the Wedding Singer clique. You don't mess with the Zohan and Jack and Jill, and then that name became Kevin James's name in Grown Ups.
Oh wow!
So there's a theory that all of these movies are connected.
Okay.
Like the Sandler multiverse.
Well, yeah, he names things after like people, like old friends of his and stuff like that. The Lamonsoff name has been used a couple times, and like I noticed that like in other, I think it was in even other stuff like the Hubie Halloween movie and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's a funny movie.
That is cute. Mm-hmm. You see that, Melanie?
You know what?
The Hubie Halloween.
Just came out a couple years ago.
Literally cannot even remember if I watched it, because I know I wanted to, and I cannot remember if I watched that. Because I'm just getting it confused with the other one that we saw recently with the
one with
Wayans brothers.
Yeah, Marlon Wayans. Yeah. That was good too.
So now I can't
They were all in Milford one day because they were filming at the Mendon Drive-In.
Wow, no way.
Mm-hmm.
Maya Rudolph was shopping at Target, and I was hearing all these things secondhand. They were bowling at pins. So I'm running around like a jackass all day trying to find these guys. I don't know what I was going to say if I ever found them.
Yeah.
But as like a radio guy, I just assumed that everyone would be my best friend if I met them, because I'm in the entertainment business. And it's probably for the best that I did not find them. But the movie, Drive-In is actually Mendon Twin Drive-In, not
I know the Drive-In,
Drive-In.
very well, because I grew up going there my entire life.
Yeah.
And my best friend worked at the bar that was next door to it, so I used to hang out with her there constantly, and then we just could see the movies. And then I remember sneaking tons of people in when they used to do it by the car. And then recently, I wouldn't say recently, but drive-in theaters are so important to me. There's not a heck of a lot of them down here, and I haven't been to the ones down here. There is like one left, but there is 2 drive-ins that I used to go to constantly up north, and that was one of them. And so about 4 or 5 years ago, when I actually went to Massachusetts and I took my kids there for the first time, that was one thing that I had to do. I had to go to the Mendon Drive-In, and it was in October, and it was freezing. It was freaking freezing, and I think we were like one of the 4 cars that were there, but I had to go, and I was so happy that it was still there. So super.
Well, if you watch Hubie Halloween, you can relive your glory days. It's right there. They have a whole scene there.
Oh wow, that's
so
cool.
And I think the people were expected to be there like from like dark until like dawn.
Wow.
Something like because it's a night scene. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, can you imagine like sitting all night? You're like, it's like 3 a.m. You're like. And it had to be certain types of cars. Like I know that it was like
really
certain ages or certain things. I don't remember the details, but I just remember.
I know I wanted to see that, and now I just can't remember. I don't think I have now that you mentioned that. I know I would have recognized that theater and that drive-in theater.
Well, you would have recognized it was Adam Sandler and all of his friends. You would have remembered. It's good. Check it out. It just came out like 2 years ago, and now it's a Halloween favorite of ours.
It's time now for Final Judgment. Are you ready to rubber stamp this bitch? Here's the Final Judgment.
It's time for Final Judgment, where we talk about fact, not opinion. Or opinion, not fact. You decide. Does it hold up today? Ray?
It holds up to someone of a certain age. That's it. If you loved it, if you lived the 80s, it holds up. If I watch this just like the Goldbergs with my kids, I have to explain every single scene, whether they ask me to or not. I'm constantly pausing to tell them a fun fact about that scene, and it drives everybody in my house nuts. So it doesn't hold up to anybody under 40, I think. Under 35 maybe, but but it does. So it does hold up and it doesn't hold up. That's my answer.
All right.
I'm sticking with it.
That's okay.
So I'm going to say I agree with Ray in a way because I do the same thing. I have to keep, I did it the other day with something. I had to stop something. I said, do you know why they said that? And my kids are like, okay, who freaking cares? Just hit play.
I get 3. I get 3 with everything we watch together. And my kids will tell me before the movie starts, you got 3.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah. I forgot what we were watching. My daughter Chloe was like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, okay. And I hit play. But with this one,
sinking into the chair.
Yeah, they're all like, shut up, Mom. And we just keep playing it. But this one, so I agree with what you're saying because they probably wouldn't understand certain like gags or jokes or whatever. Just even like the Van Halen joke, they wouldn't understand that, and that they actually did break up, so they wouldn't know that. But just being an 80, I'm like I love the 80s so much, and I make them watch. You have no idea how many things I make them watch that are from this time frame. So because it's set back in an 80s time, and they watched the my God, what's the freaking show that we all watched with the
Goldbergs?
No. It was recent that all the kids liked.
Stranger Things.
Thank you. So that was set back in the 80s. So, and
you had to explain that a lot too to the kids.
Well, and the thing is like they are very well of how the 80s were and how people looked and how they dressed and how things were. And so they're, I didn't have to really explain any of that, but they also thought it was hilarious. Like I forgot when I first showed it to them, but they are now 18 and 19, and I showed it to them a long time ago. In fact, the DVD that I actually own is my younger daughter's because she likes it so much, and she's 18. So
nice.
They love it. They literally love it, especially Chloe. She thinks it's the funniest movie. So they like it, and they understand it. But, they wouldn't understand certain things like we do. They probably don't care about those as much. But as far as being as funny as hell in every single scene, I mean, they were just laughing hysterically. So I'm going to say it does hold up, but I agree with what you're saying. But I want to say it holds up.
Yeah, I agree. I think it does, and I think the reason I think it does is because it's not a '90s movie. It's a period piece, kind of. And there's enough '80s pop culture out there, like Stranger Things, that is immensely popular. That I think enough people who are just of any age, like sort of like appreciate, even if they don't understand every aspect, or they might show interest now in such a thing because they're hearing it, like that song. I'm going to talk about Stranger Things for a second, but that Running Up the Hill, that song, like I think it went to number 1, like recently, like after the last season of Stranger Things,
like Kate Bush.
So. Right, and that song,
she was inducted into the. She was inducted into the. I don't know if she was inducted, but nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Wow, but I don't
know if that would have happened.
Did anything as far as pop radio back in 1980, whatever. Like I think it was more of an alternative song that, like my brother knew about it, and stuff like when he was in college and stuff like that. I don't think it was a big thing, like on the regular radio. So like, think of what that did. Even the song Master of Puppets crossed over the top 40 because of that. So like I think it's just like anything can spark interest.
For people who originally weren't listening to that thing, you know what I mean, that they both appreciated both of those songs that had never maybe even heard them before or wasn't listening to them, and now it's probably on their phone as a saved song or something.
Right. So like I'm saying, like, so I think people could enjoy a lot from this, and even if they're not from this time or whatever. Because there's so much to it.
It's just too funny. Everyone's gonna understand like what it's like to have their heart broken, right? Which is what it's about. And then like, everybody knows, probably what it's like to maybe be in love with somebody or or like somebody, and then that person doesn't like you the same way, or you think they don't like you the same way, or just the funny things of it. I mean, just the fun. Like I said, like when he's gotten his heart broken, he's out there singing and like screaming. I'm like, that is, I mean, anybody is going to laugh their ass off on that. It's just too funny. Like, it's, everything in it is just maybe the like little tiny 80s things they wouldn't understand, but they're going to understand like just the jokes, you know, a lot of them, and just how he acts is, you know, and I don't know, he's just too good in it to not love it.
It's so good. And then one last thing for me, I do like the moment because who hasn't done this? When you're trying to sing 99 Luff Balloons and you go 99 Luff Balloons, na 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 na, because you can't, nobody, unless you speak German, you're probably not going to get it, you know. And she does that, and I was like, yes, that's exactly what we all do.
Yeah.
You know.
So good.
So, all right, man. Ray, thank you so much for joining us for this, man.
Thank you.
I'm psyched that we finally were able to, like, I was like, no, he can't do it this week. Then let's push it back. I don't want to do it without him. We're already.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I love doing 80s movies with you.
Yeah.
Well, it's my jam.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And if you want to remind people anything that you got going on, your different podcasts and stuff.
Well, I got the New England Legends, where you can find wherever you get your podcasts, with Jeff Belanger, where we just talk about weird things in New England. And don't quit your day job if you're a musician and you just like local music. I talk to local musicians from cover bands, cover artists, people playing other people's songs. There's a whole bunch of stories to be told, and there's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes that people don't realize. You're not just watching somebody for 3 hours. And I do that once a week as well. Don't quit your day job.
Awesome.
Sounds like you're pretty busy.
A little bit.
Yeah. And plus you're doing side gigs and stuff like that, right? Like doing music
I got the bands and everything. And
nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And the radio thing, and it's all good.
Listen, so on the behalf of the absent Chris Martineau, I'd like to thank Melanie Howerton and Ray Auger for being here. And I'm Jay Fortier, and we are the Film Crickets. And remember, movies may not age like fine wine, but we drink it anyway. Bye.
Sounds like what we think about the movie. Film crickets, chirping about movie crickets, chirping about, chirping about, chirping about, chirping, chirping, chirping about film crickets, chirping about movies.